Hello everybody. So you came to the mill to 3D print. We have two different kinds of 3D printers. We have the Ultimaker and a Lulzbot. I'm going to talk to you about the Ultimaker. They both transfer the file from the computer to the printer with an SD card. And the iMac here has an SD card slot in the back. And if you notice up here on the top right, I have the SD card plugged in. And we are ready. Now the Ultimaker needs Ultimaker Cura. It needs Cura. Someone just, it's, by Ultimaker. Some places it's just called Cura. But to be specific, it has the Ultimaker presets in it, because we have an Ultimaker printer. So as you see, it opens up, says Ultimaker 2 Plus. That is good, because that's the printer we have. There are a bunch of different Ultimaker printers. So make sure it says 2 Plus. You make sure that your filament is set correctly. We tend to print mostly with PLA, but there are other filaments to print with, so make sure it says the filament that you are working with. And it is a 0.6 millimeter nozzle on this Ultimaker. Some people sometimes can change those, so be aware of that. Now there are a bunch of settings over here that can be adjusted. Right now we're printing at 0.2 millimeter layer height. What this software is going to do, you have a file, you have an STL file. You've designed something in Tinkercad or Fusion 360, you've exported an STL file. That's a three-dimensional shape. What this software is going to do is going to slice it. It's going to do it layer by layer. It's going to tell the printer where to put plastic down on each layer. And it's going to do layers right now at 0.2 millimeters thick. I've seen people use 0.15, 0.1, but those are pretty fine. I've seen people use 0.3 and 0.4. So 0.2 is a nice, nice in the middle kind of thing. The bigger the number is on this, the thicker your layers are, the fewer layers you have to have. So you can get quicker printing time because you have less layers. So less movement of the nozzle. But you also get a rougher print. So you've got to decide the playoff between there. Wall count, I tend to like 3. That tends to give better support and structure. Bottom thickness, these are just kind of defaults. Because I got it at 0.2 and it's going 6, so I'm going to get a top and a bottom of 1.2. Infill, 20% infill is a pretty good number. 20, 25, 15. You don't need a solid object. You don't print solid unless you're actually doing something that's going to hold like tons of weight. I mean, lots of weight. So we tend to stick around that 20. Material, you're not really going to get to change much here. You should have set material already. Where was it? Material. In here. And yeah. You should have set the material there. So we're extruder, we're material, we're doing PLA, manage materials. There you can do some things with the materials. PLA generic, let's get some densities, which, generic, we're okay. This is where we might have to adjust some things. Sometimes PLA's got a range of temperatures to print from 190 to 220. So sometimes they recommend, hey, if it's not working, come in here and change that to something else. And I'm clicking and it's not letting me change. So this is the base temperature, and all the temperatures should use this also. Well, I have to look at that, how to actually change that. But you shouldn't have to. Alright, so here we go. What else do we want to look at? Support. Generate supports. Well, hopefully you don't have to have supports, but oftentimes people do. And that's because they print overhangs or things up above the build that are above the build plate, and they need some supports. I'm printing flat stuff, so I don't need to support. And then build plate adhesion. Brim, raft, skirt. It depends on what you need to do. Raft is like a layer underneath, The brim is like think about an outline, but this is several outlines, and a skirt is an outline, but it's slightly away from the object. What else for you to check? Oh, with infill, there's various styles of infill. You shouldn't have to change it, but you can always research those and see if anything would be better for what you're trying to do. All right, anything else? No, those are pretty good. You can get more in depth if you click advanced, but I don't think you don't really need to. So let's close that. Now let's get the file. I'm going to open a file. So again, you've designed something in Tinkercad or Fusion 360. You've exported the STL, and you've downloaded from somewhere, and there it brings in the STL. And if you look in the bottom right, it's slicing. It's coming up saying, "Hey, we're gonna make this," and then we're going to create the layers. So right now it says it's 57 minutes, 10 grams, 1.31 meters. I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to make it change that. So here we go. I'm going to select my butterfly. Over here, I could move it on the plate if I needed to. Like if I needed to arrange and put multiple models on there. Or I can scale it. I want to scale this because right now it's going to make it 148 millimeters, which is like 15 centimeters, which is bigger than the palm of your hand. I don't want it to be that. I'm going to go with 100, which is about the palm of your hand. Now notice all three numbers changed. That's because uniform scaling was set, which that's usually what I'll do. But now I'm going to click off uniform scaling, and I'm going to make it thicker. 3 millimeters is not very thick, so I'm going to make it 5 millimeters. There's some other things here. You can rotate it if you need to, do some mirroring, change settings just per each model, and then block supports if you need to. So right now, this is saying, slicing again, 24 minutes, 4 grams, about half, just over half a meter of filament. All right, we're done here. We just need to save it. So let's make sure we're saving to the right thing. Save to removable drive Ultimaker 2C. Yes, that's what I want to do. Save to removable Ultimaker 2C. Awesome. Make sure we know we're saving. Now, for some reason, this disk utility wants to mess up. And we don't need to know the admin name, but we need to give it a moment here so it will actually eject the SD card. You don't want to just pull the SD card. You want to eject it. Sometimes you can just come up to the SD card, see it ejected it, and like right click on it and get an eject from there. But I think it's going to do the same thing. We're done here. Now you need to pull that SD card out of the iMac and take it over to the Ultimaker. We'll talk about that in another video. Enjoy.